All right, good evening, USA, Canada, International, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, creator, host with the most, misunderstood lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, and rookie podcaster of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And you're rocking and hanging with me on the 41st episode of Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, the sports edition show where we talk everything about sports, including baseball, basketball, football, you just name it though, man. And in today's episode titled High Hopes, we're going to be talking everything basketball related, and of course there's some stories about the New York Mets free agency stuff, predictions. We're going to get into that along with everything else that's in store for you today. We got a jam-packing show for you today on this episode right here. We're live and direct from StreamYard alongside with the Instagram live feed of the podcast show page. Make sure you turn your notifications and reminders on whenever I'm going to be on the air via live stream on Instagram Live as well. And speaking of live streams, if you missed any previous episodes, whether it's new or the previous latest episodes whatsoever, don't worry. Go ahead and grab that subscribe button for me on the YouTube channel, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Podcast YouTube channel page, and tap the noni bell so you can be reminded when the show goes in the air via live stream, along with the times of the live stream recording. Leave a like and a comment along with the episodes, and of course the topics, the sports topics that's included, and of course be sure to tell a friend to another friend. Download these episodes, listen, stream, and watch these episodes. Share the episodes, and of course, share the videos as well. So, and I'll handle the rest of the shows with where you can listen to the episodes on every streaming platforms at the end of this episode right here. Okay, so I really hope that you folks out there in the sports world has enjoyed their Thanksgiving alongside with I know pretty much a lot of people had a lot to be thankful for, and of course and of course I did manage to I didn't have the mac and cheese, but I'm not gonna feel bad about that. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, I had mac and cheese, a little bit of plantain. There's turkey meat. There's also some apple pie, of course, and on that and some water as well. So overall, okay, so how I'm feeling mentally, physically, and spiritually. Well, for the most part, I did have to work from 11 to 5 Fridays and Saturdays. And for the most part, I did manage to actually, you know, do what I can to be to be to be the best worker that I could be, essential worker that I could be. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people appreciate that about me. You know what I'm saying? I'll do what I can. It ain't gonna be perfect, but I'm doing the best I can, and I'm only human. So, overall, mentally, physically, and spiritually, I'm doing all right for the most part, though, man. I'm actually doing the best I can to not only push the first two of my podcast platforms already have 209 episodes already in my New York podcast show, and 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 of course 99 episodes in Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast review show. And of course, recording the 41st episode right here, right now. I'm gonna be recording 42 tomorrow, most likely. So stick around for that one right there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I worked and did a little brainstorming on some topics and stuff on each website that I go to. So, that's how I prepare. I don't need to memorize anything. So that's pretty much what it is right here. And now we're gonna get into the show right here. With some trending topics in sports whatsoever. It's starting with the NBA basketball player Patrick Beverly. So here it is, the quick side bleacher bar. Here it is. Okay, so our first topic is Patrick Beverly. Okay, so here it is. The NBA has announced that it has given starting Los Angeles Lakers point guard Patrick Beverly a warning for a violation of its anti-flopping policy. What the hell? Damn. Wow. The league's announcement included a video link to the offending moment in question during Friday night's 111 to 102 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Beverly guarding former Minnesota teammate Tareen Prince near the sideline egregiously falls backwards as Prince prepares to pass the ball. Replays from multiple angles indicate that Beverly indeed did not actually come into contact with Prince at all. Should Beverly be deemed to be in violation of the league's anti-flopping policy again, he would be fined. Pat Bev is no stranger to this rule, having been hit with a $5,000 fine by the league back in 2019 when he was still a Los Angeles Clipper. Presumably, there are no hard feelings off the floor with his old colleagues, even if Pat Bev was a fierce competitor on it. Beverly played for the Timberwolves during the 2021 to 22 season, helping Minnesota return to the playoffs for the first time since 2018. Away from the court, Prince reflected on the 34-year-old vet's impact for the club. Per John Kra- Kra- Krasinski, John Krasinski of The Athletic. And he stated, in quote, I think everybody knows what he stood for and what he stood for, and that everybody's taking a little bit of something from Pat and is carrying it on and will probably keep it for their whole careers. That's the type of effect he had as a human, not just as a basketball player, but as a human. Beverly himself spoke warmly of his brief stint with the Timberwolves during the pregame shoot around Friday. Um, the 6'1" vet reminisced fondly regarding his Timberwolves era, of course. Um, and he said during the highlights from the video, in quote, we had a blast this year. A lot of good memories coming in from a halfway empty house at the beginning of the season and full crowd every time we step on the floor. The fans have been great. It's a second home for me for sure. All right, so let's get into another hold on a second. Um hold on a minute. Let's get into a little bit of football. All right. No, hold on. Wait a minute here. Yeah, let's get into a little bit of football. Um, okay, so one name you might not hear at the NFL's trade deadline is Baker Mayfield. At least if it was up to Mayfield anyway. The Carolina Panthers quarterback has missed the past 2 games with a high ankle sprain, and last week he watched PJ Walker lead the way in a shocking win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Head coach Matt Rule also has been fired. So it's not clear what it might take for Mayfield to regain his starting spot. Nevertheless, Mayfield said Thursday he hasn't requested a trade from the Panthers, replying, "I want to be here," when asked about that idea. "We all want to play," Mayfield said via Joe Person of The Athletic. "That's the nature of this business. That's the nature of playing sports. My role right now is to help us win any way I can. That's practicing, helping out in the QB room, doing scout team stuff. I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. Like I said, obviously, I'd like to be out there, but PG played his ass off and deserves to be out there again. So I'm doing whatever I can to help this team win." Walker struggled in the loss of the Rams, but completed 16 of 22 passes for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns in the win over the Bucks. Mayfield returned to practice last week and was not listed on Thursday's injury report. Interim head coach Steve Wilkes said earlier this week that Mayfield should be healthy enough to be the backup quarterback Sunday against the Falcons. He split he split time this week in practice between the number 2 quarterback and scout team quarterback duties. The Panthers were 1-4 in Mayfield's 5 starts this season after coming over via trade from the Browns in July. He's completed 84 of 153 passes, of course, includes 54.9% for 962 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, also adding 40 yards rushing and a score. Mayfield is scheduled to be a free agent this spring. Of course, that's a long time. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what else can we talk about. Oh, yes. Yes, let's talk about one of the numbers of the New York Mets. That's hold on. Before I even get to that, let's get to Lamello Ball. Um yes. Okay, let's see. Let me make sure I turn this down. Okay. In his first few years in the league, Lamello Ball has made quite the impression. He is easily one of the most talented point guards in the entire league, and there is no doubt that he can become a top 5 player at some point in the future. After all, he has Michael Jordan as a mentor, which is only going to help him get better as time goes on. Since joining the NBA, LaMelo has signed with Roc Nation for any future representation. Jay-Z's imprint has ventured into sports over the last few years, and it has been a fairly successful endeavor with players like LaMelo representing the agency. The future of Roc Nation sports is certainly in good hands. In fact, Jay Z seems to agree with that assessment as he recently gifted LaMelo Ball with a jewelry piece that he will remember for the rest of his life. In the video he posted, Academics below, you can see Mello opening up a small box that contains an iced out Roc A Fella pendant. Roc A Fella pendants are highly sought after by those signed to Roc Nation, and now Melo has officially been christened into the company. Hmm. And of course, heading into the season, Lamello will be looking to to lead his Hornets into the playoffs. He has the pieces to get it done, and it will be fun to see how Melo has developed in his third season in the league. Well, and of course, there's some people who chimed in, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get into these comments. This is from hotnewhiphop.com. Pieces to get it done. Like he didn't just lose his best running mate Bridges over him being an absolute moron. I don't know about that though, but I bang with Lamello, and I think he can ball, but he clearly doesn't understand the significance of having a rock chain. He acted like he just got some Catholic beads. Benny the Butcher been kissing a lot of ass, and Jay still hasn't given him one. Cause Jay sees him as a fellow competition. Mello don't rap, so Jay don't care because rappers have a lot more respect and admiration for ball players than other rappers because all rappers want to be hoopers and all hoopers want to be rappers. And of course, another person says, no, he doesn't see him as comp. Jay is a mentor to him, Griselda, Rock Marciano, and others. My thought was Melo didn't really seem phased, whereas Benny on record basically kissing ass for one, excuse me. And another person says that dude is a son to Jay-Z. Op was right. He been kissing ass. Oh shit. Oh man. Lamello a future GOAT as long as he keep his head down. Well, that's not really a good message to say, but well, Lamello Ball, keep your head up, do what you can, and just be you. And speaking of being you, there's a number of the New York Mets that has retired this year. And that number is 24 under Willie Mays. So let's get into it. And this took place during Old Timers Day. So if Old Timers Day, um, Old Timers Day at Citi Field couldn't be any more special. The Mets managed to find a way, announcing at the pregame introductions of 65 former players that Willie Mays, number 24, would become the seventh number retired in franchise history. The decision from the organization fulfills the wish of the team's first owner, Joan Payson, who promised Mays upon acquiring him in 1972 that the team would retire his number. 50 years later, it happened in a surprise announced by longtime Mets radio announcer Howie Rose. Let me share how I feel today. The Mets retiring my number, number 24, man, that's the best. The 91-year-old Mays said in a statement as he couldn't attend Sunday's festivities, and how do I feel? Like I've hit a walk-off. And Mays played just 2 seasons with the Mets, the final two of a 23-year career that began in New York with the Giants before moving out west to San Francisco, where he flourished into one of the greatest ball players ever. Payson passed away in 1975 without fulfilling the promise, something the next ownership group also did not observe. There has been a 50-year gap, if you will, between a promise made and a promise kept, Mets president Sandy Alderson said. We felt that on this occasion today, in light of all the players that we had here, all the generations, this was the time to keep that promise and make sure as many as possible understood where Willie Mays fit in the overall spectrum of New York and the Mets. 14 of his 660 career home runs, which ranks sixth all time, came with the Mets as the center fielder, helped lead the organization to the National League pennant in 1973. End quote. I can never forget the way it felt to return to New York to play for all the loyal fans, the loyal Mets fans. I'm tremendously proud I ended my career in Queens with the Mets during the 73 World Series, he said. It's an honor to have my number retired in my two favorite cities, New York and San Francisco. New York was a magical place to play baseball. His final hit in the majors came in game two of the World Series that year, a go ahead single in the top of the 12th inning to catapult the Mets to a victory to tie the series. I sat down and thought about how it was playing for the Mets back in the 70s. You might lose a lot of details after so many years, but what I can ever forget is the way it felt to be back in New York City playing for Mets fans, May said. Mets fans are loyal. Mets fans are passionate. Mets fans are loud. They let you know right now how they feel. Mays joins Casey Stengel, Tom Seaver, Gil Hodges, Jerry Kuzman, Keith Hernandez, and Mike Piazza as the only Mets player or managers to have their jersey number retired. In the last 2 years alone, the Mets retired the numbers of Hernandez and Kuzman. As owner of Steve Cohen continues to take huge leaps in preserving the organization's history. Mets fans always gave me the biggest ovations and the loudest thank yous ever, May said. Today, I return those thank yous from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank Steve and Alex Cohen for making this day possible and embracing Mets history. Wow. Wow. That's pretty dope right there. So let's get to making some noise for Willie Mays. Okay, now we got some rumors in the air in regards to the Mets that we need to get to. And of course, we got some Mets rumors in the air. So this is from MLB.com. So Rendon meeting with Mets. The Mets have been linked to the top starting pitchers on the free agent market, and they are reportedly meeting with one of them today. Left-hander Carlos Rodon is having a Zoom meeting with the Mets, according to MLB Network insider Joe Sherman. Sherman adds that the Mets haven't yet determined whether to spend the money necessarily to land one of the elite starters available, Rendon, Jacob DeGrom, or Justin Verlander, or if so, which one. But his sense is that the Mets want to get one of those top arms to pair him, excuse me, to pair him with Max Scherzer atop the rotation. Uh, and of course, November 28th, the Grom is Mets focus on SP market, although um although they've shown interest in a number of top free agent starters, the Mets appear to be focused on re-signing Jacob DeGrom, according to the Athletics Ken Rosenthal. Let's take a look here. Yes. Yes, there's been some rumors in the air actually. Man. Let's see. Um yes. Wait a minute here. All right, so November 23rd, Morosi expects Mets to land ace with multiple rotation spots to fill, including one that was previously occupied by two Cy Young Award winners, Jacob DeGrom. The Mets are likely to remain engaged with the free agent starting pitcher market in the coming weeks. The three top names on the market, DeGrom, Justin Verlander, and Carlos Rodon, are all on the Mets' radar, according to MLB.com's John Paul Morosi, who expects New York to land one of them. I think the Mets are a really interesting team to watch right now because I have a hard time believing that the Mets do not come away with one of Rodon, Verlander, and Grom. Morosi said Wednesday on MLB Network. When you look at their rotation right now, Chris Bassett is a free agent, Taiwan Walker is a free agent, and DeGrom is, of course, as well. They need help in that area. They really need to fortify their group of starting pitchers in rotation to some other pursuits and certainly trying to retain Brendan Nimmo and compete in a division that includes the last two National League champs. Um, Rendon is likely a fallback option for the Mets, who would need to forfeit their second and fifth highest picks in the 2023 draft and $1 million from their international bonus pool to sign the left-hander after he declined a qualifying offer from the Giants. New York wouldn't need to forfeit draft picks to sign DeGrom or Verlander. Um, of course, there's been a lot going on in November with all these reports. So let's get into one more date. So November 20th, Mets meet with Verlander following a New York Post um report Saturday that the Mets are considering um AL Cy Young Award winner Justin Verlander to replace Jacob DeGrom if the latter departs in free agency. Ken Rosenthal of the Athletic reports that the club had a Zoom meeting with Verlander. If DeGrom signs elsewhere and the Mets do bring in Verlander, he'll be paired up again with former Tigers rotation mate Max Scherzer at the top of New York's rotation. The club is reportedly considering a shorter term, higher annual average contract with DeGrom, who is 35 and has had injury problems the past couple of years. The same may go for Verlander, who will be 40 next year, though he continues to defy time with his dominance on the mound. He led the majors with a 1.75 ERA for the World Series champion Astros this year. Um, and November 19th, there's more to this actually. This is crazy. Okay, Mets considering Verlander as the ground backup plan. Where will the Mets turn if they aren't able to re-sign two times NL Cy Young Award winner Jacob DeGrom? According to Mike Puma of the New York Post, the club is considering AL Cy Young Award winner Justin Verlander. And of course, latest on the Mets and DeGrom Rodon, Senga Nimmo. Here's the latest on the Mets' interest in several top free agents from MLB.com's Anthony DeComo. First, DeGrom. DeGrom thinks the Mets are still the favorites to bring back their ace. But if a team like the Rangers or Dodgers are able to land DeGrom with an above market offer, New York would pursue one of the other top free agents arms. The two that stand out, Carlos Rendon from the Giants and Kodai Senga, the flame-throwing 29-year-old from Japan. And second, Nemo. DeComo reports that the Mets are likely to remain a serious suitor for Nemo, who they want to keep in New York throughout free agency, but he expects the widespread interest in Nemo to prolong the period it takes him to pick a club to sign with. Um, yeah. So this is like a couple of things. Oh boy. So let's see. There's more Verlander stuff. So Mets considering Verlander Senga trades. The Mets are considering whether to pursue Justin Verlander and are forging ahead with their pursuit of Japanese right-hander Kodai Senga, league sources told SNY's Andy Martino. Yeah. Okay, so and wow. Signing Verlander, who would turn 40 in February, would likely take a high value short term contract similar to the one that the Mets gave Max Scherzer last offseason. But Martino writes that the Mets have considered such a signing for months and that it remains a topic of discussion within the front office. Yeah, there's so much stuff. All right, so speaking of, well, there's more Met stuff to talk about here, actually. Let's get into what Rosenthal got into. So Mike Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, teammates with the Tigers from 2011 to 2014, um, be headed for a reunion. It is at least a possibility. The Mets dealing with several holes in their rotation, including the possible loss of ace right-hander Jacob deGrom, spoke with Verlander by Zoom last week, according to major league sources. Verlander, the unanimous 2022 American League Cy Young winner, is a free agent. So are deGrom and two other members of the Mets 2022 rotation, Chris Bassett and Taijuan Walker. The Mets met last week with Japanese right-hander Kodai Senga and have been in contact with another free agent, Jameson Jameson Talon. Sources say. The New York Post reported Saturday that the Mets are considering Verlander. The discussions between the parties indicate that the team's interest in Verlander is more than simply theoretical. The Post, however, also reported the Mets believe they will re-sign deGrom if the offer to him is close to or equal to the others he receives. For the Mets, the casting of a wide net is due diligence and hardly a surprise. Carlos Rodon, another top free agent, likely is on their potential target list as well. The team's rotation presently consists of Scherzer, Carlos Carlos Cookie Carasco, and the less established Tyler McGill, David Peterson, and Elieser Hernandez, whom the team acquired in a trade from the Marlins on Friday. Verlander obviously is not only on the Mets' radar. The World Series champion Astros want him back. The Dodgers and possibly the Yankees are among the other clubs that view him as an attractive short-term, high-dollar investment. Verlander was ineligible for a qualifying offer after receiving one last season. So any team that signs him would avoid forfeiting draft picks and international bonus pool space. Let's see. So Rodon received a qualifying offer, and the Mets extended such offers to DeGrom, Bassett, and Brandon Nimmo, qualifying for compensation if they depart. Well, don't never say never. A reunion of Verlander with Scherzer would give the Mets 2 3-time Cy Young winners, both of whom became World Series champions after leaving the Tigers. Scherzer with the Nationals in 2019, Verlander with the Astros in 2017 and 2022. Verlander also would provide the Mets with an adequate buffer at the top of the rotation if they lose DeGrom, a 2-time Cy Young winner. The caveat: Verlander turns 40 in February, Scherzer 39 in July. Verlander is expected to command a multi-year contract with an average salary in the range of Scherzer record $4.3 million. The Mets might be reluctant to pay a combined $80 million plus for two pitchers who have combined for more than 6,000 career innings, including the postseason. Scherzer twice was on the injured list last season because of left oblique issues, and his 145 1/3 innings were his lowest total for a full season. Then again, DeGrom turns 35 in June, likely will cost more than Verlander, and also is not without risk. When healthy, DeGrom is the game's most dominant pitcher. A variety of injuries, however, limited him to 156 1/3 innings and the past two seasons. He produced a 3.07 ERA in 12 starts, including one in the postseason after coming off the IL on August the 2nd. His strikeout rate was an astonishing 42.7%. His walk rate was only 3.3%. Verlander had more complete season returning from Tommy John surgery to produce a league best 1.75 ERA and 175 innings. The Astros used him carefully, knowing he had missed virtually all of the previous two campaigns. Verlander made 23 of his 28 starts on 5 or more days rest. He also was out with an injured right calf from August 30th to September 16th, but he returned to produce a 1.17 ERA in his final 4 regular season starts, then cap off an inconsistent postseason with his first World Series victory. For the Mets and any other team pursuing DeGrom, he looms as a worthy alternative. Yeah. Here's some let's see, man. All right, so let's get into some more stuff though. Let's get into some more stuff about Jacob deGrom. It appears one of the Mets' main rivals for Jacob deGrom's signature this winter isn't too keen on the prospect of bringing the two-time Cy Young Award on board. According to Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic Monday, the Texas Rangers seem more confident of landing left-hander Carlos Rodon and possibly Japanese righty Kodai Senga than they do of signing the best available starting pitcher, Jacob deGrom. The Rangers had been listed as one of the favorites to lure the 34-year-old right-hander away from Queens in free agency after he declined his contract option with the Mets to test the open waters this winter. The AL West side was believed to potentially be able to offer a long-term deal in a city that's a bit closer to his home in Florida. But outbidding the Mets, especially for DeGrom, is a dangerous game to play in the Steve Cohen era, despite injury concerns possibly limiting the figures of his deal. A healthy DeGrom could have fetched as much as $50 million annually, which is a still feasible number, excuse me, if a new contract from whichever suitor wins is incentive laden. It isn't an understatement to suggest the Mets could be desperate to bring DeGrom back. Their starting rotation is very much in flux after DeGrom. Chris Bassett and Taijuan Walker opted out of their deals this offseason, leaving Max Scherzer, Carlos Cookie Carasco, Joey Lucchesi, David Peterson, and Tyler McGill as the only pitchers under contract for the 2023 season. The Mets have reportedly contacted both 2022 AL Cy Young Award winner Justin Verlander and highly talented Japanese pitcher Kadai Senga as potential backup options should DeGrom not sign. However, Rosenthal added that DeGrom appears to be the Mets' focus. Rosenthal also lists the Atlanta Braves as a team that could potentially be interested. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be a whole nother story right here. That's just really, really interesting right here. Um, so remains to be seen. I don't know why you would actually I don't know why you would actually be able to. I don't know why, but it's just crazy. Oh, and speaking of Cookie Carrasco, let's get into the latest story. Um, okay, so there is a little bit of good news for the Mets actually. Um, the New York Mets are picking up the contract option of starting pitcher Carlos Carrasco, aka Cookie Carrasco. General Manager Billy Epler announced at the Major League Baseball GM meetings Thursday in Las Vegas. Doing so will pay the 35-year-old $14 million in 2023, which will be his last year under team control before hitting free agency next winter. Bringing back Carrasco at this point was a no-brainer for the Mets, whose starting rotation is facing the great unknown this off-season. Jacob deGrom, Taijuan Walker, and Chris Bassett all opted out of their contracts earlier this week and could potentially sign with the other teams beginning in the coming days now that the exclusive negotiating window for teams to retain their free agents expires on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. The only other starting pitchers under contract for the Mets are Max Scherzer, Tom McGill, David Peterson, and Joey Lucchesi, a shell of what the Mets had on their 101 win squad in 2022. Carrasco took a step forward in his second year with the Mets after a difficult 2021 season that featured injury issues and struggles on the hill after he was acquired from the Cleveland Guardians in the Francisco Lindor trade. He went 15 to 7 in 2022 with a 3.97 ERA and 152 strikeouts in 152.0 innings of work. It was the most he's worked in a single season since 2017 and valiantly working his way back to the mound after being diagnosed with leukemia in 2019. His return ensures the Mets have a viable starter for the back end of the rotation. It's the rest of the staff between Scherzer and him now that needs to be addressed. Okay. And let's see what else we got to talk about here. Um what else we got to talk? Hold on a second, folks. Let me see how much time we got. Oh boy. Okay. So we got some time here. All right. So let's get into the free agent predictions. This is great. This is very interesting to me actually. But let's see. So we talking Mets free agent predictions. So and this is okay. We're officially in the thick of the free agency, and MLB Trade Rumors has released their list of top 50 free agents with projections for each player's new team and contract. The Mets are involved with several of the top available players. Here's a quick breakdown of the guys MLBTR expects the Mets to sign and where. And I mean where they expect current Mets free agents to sign. A panel of 4 experts each made a prediction for each player. So the teams listed below represent a majority of those if there was one. And of course, Carlos Rodon prediction Mets 5 years, $140 million contract. Rodon's roller coaster career has searched a high point at an optimal time for the former first round draft pick. After dazzling on just a 1 year, $3 million deal with the White Sox in 2021, Rodon signed a 2 year, $44 million contract with the Giants last offseason. He opted out of the second year, making him one of the top arms available during this free agency cycle. 2 of MLBTR's 4 experts project Rodon will sign with the Mets. If he does, Mets fans will hope he continues his current trajectory. At just 30 years old, Rodon could be a big part of the rotation for years to come. It's already been reported that the Mets have interest in Rodon. Now we go to Jacob deGrom. Prediction. The Rangers. I hate to see it. I hate to see this happen. 3 years, $135 million. DeGrom's opt out was a surprise to no one, as he stated ever since spring training he would be testing free agency after the season. Injuries and inconsistency marred what could have been a magical 2022 for DeGrom, who looked as good as he ever had when he was healthy. Whether DeGrom returns to New York or not, one has to wonder how much the 34-year-old has left in the tank. DeGrom and the Rangers have already reached out to each other to talk. The team that signs DeGrom has to ask itself, is making a 9-figure commitment worth it to find out? That's a good question. That is a good question right there, though, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me take some time to actually acknowledge who came in. Let's see. Okay, so the Take 30 podcast, thank you for joining. And a Queen's Palace 4, thank you for joining the live stream as well, for watching this live stream on Instagram Live. Okay, so Brandon Nimmo, big question. Brandon Nimmo prediction Mets 5 years, $110 million. Nimmo has become one of the faces of the franchise for the Mets, but now there is a real possibility he could suit up in a different jersey for the first time in his major league career. His consistency at the plate and in the field over the past few years now sets him up for a big payday as one of the top free agents this offseason. The Mets have stated Nimmo is a top priority, and while MLBTR also lists the Astros and Giants as potential landing spots, the most popular belief is that the longtime Mets stays in Queens. And I actually said this like maybe twice already. Please do not trade Brendan Nimmo, man. He's the most valuable player in center field. And yeah, he may not be a home run hitter, but he does a lot of damage in terms of trying to help out his team, especially with the big plays, the big catches to take away a home run from Justin Turner, which was very, very, very impressive. So please do not trade Brendan Nimmo away, man. Let's hope the Mets keep him, man. They need the center fielder guy because I feel like I said before, man. I think Brendan Nimmo is a better center fielder than Starling Marte. I hate to say this. I hate to say this, but Starling Marte sometimes okay, he's a good player, but at the same time, how many times he's been injured? He's been injured like more than once. So I actually read somewhere that making Starling Marte the center fielder is not a good idea. Not a good idea. So please keep Nemo at center field. All right. That's my take on it. And for Chris Bassett, prediction Twins. 3 years, $60 million. Wow. Chris Bassett pitched a high career 181 2/3 innings for the 2022 Mets and provided big outings on a consistent basis. When the 23 season starts, Bassett will be 34 years old. So the question becomes, which team will take a chance that he can continue pitching at a high level for multiple seasons? While MLBTR's projections had Bassett signing with the Twins, it seems there could be a large market for his services. It's worth noting that this list features three of the Mets' main five starters from last season, and they are all projected to sign elsewhere. As for Taiwan Walker, prediction San Diego Padres, 4 years, $62 million contract. The third member of the aforementioned rotation free agents is Taiwan Walker. At just 30 years old, Walker could have his best baseball ahead of him, despite having been in the league for at least part of 10 seasons. Walker showed flashes of brilliance early in 2021 and then hit a wall as his inning count ballooned that season. 2022 saw more consistency from Taiwan, and he proved he can be a solid part of someone's rotation. And let me see. And Andrew Haney predictions: New York Mets, 3 years, $42 million. Wow. Haney, excuse me, has shown flashes of brilliance in his 9 year career, but he's also been unable to stay on the field. For Met fans who don't know Heaney, he's a poor man's DeGrom. Damn. Poor man's DeGrom. Oh shit. Wow. Oh man. Oh man, that's crazy funny right there, man. Oh my gosh. Having posted um K out of 9 rates over 10 on a consistent basis, even putting up 13.6 in 2022. But he has also only pitched over 130 innings one time and over 100 innings in just 3 seasons. If Heaney can stay healthy, whichever team signs him will get a steal. But that's a big if, and his projected contract reflects the risk. The Mets have already reportedly shown interest in the left-hander. Okay, David Peterson prediction: New York Mets 2-year contract of $16 million. Hmm. The Mets experienced significant bullpen woes in 2022, and Robertson was a popular name around the trade deadline, but the veteran reliever ended up pitching for the Phillies instead. Now, in free agency, Robertson is linked to the Mets again, and despite the fact that during the second week of the season he will turn 38. David's presence would be welcomed in Queens as a reliable reliever with a long track record of success. Adam Ottavino predictions. Um, no consensus. 2 years, $14 million contract. Now, I'm not sure what that no consensus means. I'm not sure what that means, but anyway, when he's on, Ottavino has one of the nastiest sliders in the game, and we saw a few outings last season where he seemed unhittable. MLBTR is all over the board when projecting where Ottavino might land, but at 2 years, $14 million, it would make a lot of sense for the Mets to keep him in their pen, even if he's not the high leverage guy he was in 2022. As as in the case of any free agent, you can't count the Mets out with Steve Cohen at the helm. Even though guys like Trey Turner, Aaron Judge, and Justin Verlander weren't included with the Mets in the running, many never would have put Max Scherzer on the Mets radar at this time last year, so anything can happen. Okay, if I hear any more of new information in regards to predictions and trades and all that other stuff, I will be able to actually bring it to you right here on this sports podcast right here. All right. Let's see what else. What else here? Um, this is yes. Okay. Let me see how much time we got here. I think we're gonna end it off right here. So listen. All right, so this has been a great episode right here, episode 41, titled High Hopes. I wish the Mets have high hopes in keeping Brendan Nimmo and along with certain players whatsoever. So yeah, we'll see what happens though, man. And in the meantime, you can make a charitable donation to support this show other multiple and other multiple shows that I do on a weekly basis, podcast related. You can donate to my Cash App, which is G Money Stacks 555. That's $ G, capital G, lowercase MONEY, capital S, lowercase TACKZ 555. And also you don't need a lot of money to actually um to actually show support. It's all about doing the best you can on whatever amount of money you desire and you are comfortable with will be appreciated. And also, you could also give a 5-star rating on Podchaser alongside with Podfriend, Apple Podcasts, and along with Spotify as well. 5-star rating will be appreciated, and a review will be appreciated as well. So there you have it right there, folks. All right, so let's get into stream choices on the go, man. Let's do this. All right, so to all the sports people out there and the fanatics in sports, um, you know what to do. You like what you heard in every sports topics that's actually talked about, whether it's in basketball, baseball, football, whatever sport it is, I will try my best to cover. You can go ahead and support this show by following Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, the Sports Edition show, on Instagram, alongside with my review show, Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast, and of course, my number one show with 209 episodes, Off the Meat Rat Chains New York podcast on Facebook and Instagram as well. And alongside with myself is the Instagram handle, primary handle of G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. Turn your notifications so you can be in the know on when each episode is going to be dropping. Any deep new details, new information, new details, new information, and of course any particular questions that I put up in the Insta story and the post, you're more than welcome to actually answer those questions right there. So there you have it right there. And by the way, when you go to the link in bio where it says Linktree / Excellent Fun Vibrant podcast, of course, you're gonna see a whole list of streaming platforms, and you can also leave a voice message on anchor.fm /G Money Stacks 0/message. All right. And speaking of Anchor, that's where we're gonna start with right here. Yes. So Anchor, Audible, Audacity, Amazon Music, Breaker, Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, Moon FM Podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podfriend, Podorama, Podopolo, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Reason FM, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts, and you can listen to the Sports Edition show of Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast on Radio Public. And alongside with iHeartRadio, the number one app for music, radio, and podcast. And you don't need a credit card to download the apps that I just mentioned. You don't need a credit card or a debit card to actually do this. You just go to your app store, whether you have an iPhone, whether you have an Android, iPad, Android tablet, and all that great stuff right there. Yes, be sure to actually follow, subscribe. Be sure to also follow my other two shows. It's also on iHeartRadio and other streaming platforms, along with YouTube, which I will discuss next. Make sure you follow Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast Review Show. That's also on iHeartRadio with 99 episodes. And of course, around my next particular show that has 209 episodes, which 209 will be posted on Wednesday, along with any particular feature episode that will be posted on Wednesday. So we'll see what's going on here. And be sure to actually follow Off the Meat Rat Chains New York podcast, also on iHeartRadio as well. And of course, last but not least, go ahead and make sure you grab that subscribe button for me on the YouTube channel page of Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast YouTube channel. And of course, be sure to click on the noni bell so you can be reminded when the show goes in the air via live stream, along with the reminder and the time of the live stream recording of the podcast. And be sure to leave a like and a comment along with the episodes and the sports topics. Be sure to share the episodes, share the videos, download these episodes alongside with making sure that you stream, listen, and watch the episodes in case you miss any of them. Don't worry, everything's all there. And of course, be sure to tell a friend to another friend and spread the word. Word of mouth is important. And of course, share the podcast along with the link that says Linktree/Excellent Fun Vibrant Podcast, along with your husbands, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your wives, your friends, the people you are cool with from work, and everybody else for that matter. All right, so that's gonna do it for me. This has been a great sports episode right here. Thank you very much. I'm G Money Stacks, aka the Gregoneer. Thank you very much for listening, tuning in and rocking with me and hanging out with me on the 41st episode titled High Hopes. And of course, tune in next time when I actually got some more Met related stories to talk about. And of course, be sure to remember the grind doesn't stop. If you want something, you got to work hard and you have to earn it. Hard work pays off. You can't rush the process. And of course, New York wasn't built in a day. And of course, be sure to take time for yourself. Make sure you find something that that clicks to you, that makes you happy, with a spark that gets you into your zone creatively speaking, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And of course, make sure you be on your P's and Q's with confidence, consistency, content-wise, and of course, alongside with tunnel vision. All right, so I'm about to be out of here. Thank you very much for listening, tuning in, and rocking with me on this episode right here. I'll see y'all next time in the next episode. And peace and one love. And I hope y'all be careful out there while you're doing your Christmas shopping and all the great stuff right there. So peace and one love, and have yourselves a good night.